The U.S. and France are forming new diplomatic pacts as their leaders work to mend the country's relations. Vice President Kamala Harris is in Paris today, meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron months after the U.S. struck a submarine deal with Australia. The AUKUS deal sunk a prior contract between Australia and France, angering the French. On Wednesday, the vice president said the U.S. has committed to joining an international climate change initiative in cooperation with France. She also said the U.S. will support France's initiative to work with the international community to advance cybersecurity. The leaders are also cooperating on shared goals for outer space. The vice president said earlier today French President Macron intends to join the Artemis Accords, an American effort to return humans to the moon by 2024.
As the head of the Space Council, I can tell you we're very excited about the prospect of that and the work that we can do together as it relates to the opportunities that are presented in the work that we do in space.
Joining us now from Paris is CBS News correspondent Elaine Cobbe. Elaine, great to see you. Would you say the vice president's trip to rebuild trust with France has been successful so far?
Tanya, it seems clear that both sides went into this visit with the clear intention of improving relations, rebuilding that long-standing relationship. They've discussed a lot of topics. The one thing they have not talked about, according to French and US officials, is that submarine deal. They have been avoiding talking about it. President Macron said this was the start of a new era, and the vice president also echoed that, and it seems clear they want to look ahead and concentrate on what the two countries have in common, at least for now.
So the sticky conversation hasn't happened yet. So in context, how significant then are these pacts on space, cybersecurity, and climate change that have already been announced? Are these sort of just the feel-good announcements? Is that why the focus is on these topics in particular, at least at the outset of the visit?
I think they're partly because they're issues that are close to the hearts of both. The vice president is the chair of the National Space Council, so she's very excited, she said, that President Macron is keen on international cooperation and bilateral cooperation on space. And climate change is very close to his heart, so getting the US on board with the Space Observatory so that all of these space agencies are monitoring climate change around the world, that's important to him as well. And of course, cybersecurity is important to everyone. So while they're not the biggest news that has ever been made, they are very much evidence that the two countries are cooperating in key areas and are looking to the future rather than dwelling on the past.
Certainly, those are important issues that have global resonance. And Elaine, do you expect the vice president and French president to increase their countries' cooperation in any other diplomatic realms?
They were also talking about how they can better cooperate and coordinate efforts in the Indo-Pacific. And much closer to home and more concretely, they've been cooperating on the International Conference on Libya. That's being held in Paris tomorrow, a month ahead of elections in Libya. Now, the US is not a major player in that conference. It's not one of the co-hosts, but France and French officials have been making a big deal of the fact that the Vice President Harris will be here at the conference, and also that the US has been cooperating a lot in planning this conference ahead of time. So there's all of this conciliatory talk in the background, and it seems clear that the two countries are certainly trying to rebuild those bridges and keep moving forward.
Right. And as you mentioned, a little bit of the focus now is on the Indo-Pacific, which is sort of the background to the AUKUS deal. French President Macron said the country's cooperation, though, has become absolutely critical as the world enters a new era. However, we know that the U.S. at least is sort of shifting its focus diplomatically from Europe towards the Indo-Pacific. Does it remain important that the U.S. maintain such a close relationship with its oldest ally?
At the moment, France really is the major leader in Europe, with German Chancellor Angela Merkel leaving and with Britain having left the EU. President Macron is the main leader in Europe, and so he is the one who can bring European opinion together. He's the one who can focus on issues that the US might want to bring to its European allies. And France is certainly the major player in Europe at the moment. So it makes a lot of sense for the US to concentrate on relations with France. And while, yes, the emphasis with the Pacific region is very important, Europe is still a major player and has major influence around the world. And so while a lot of the relationships dimmed during the Trump administration, there is a very clear emphasis with the Biden administration on renewing old links, and many of them are with Europe and with France.
Elaine Cobbe in Paris, thank you so much.